Hi everyone, welcome in. Thank you for joining me. My name is Marlene and I am with A Room to Bloom, and this is your podcast oracle reading where we have some food for your spirit. So we're going to pull some cards here today, see what's going on in the energy to help you on your journey. So today I'm going to start out with a deck called Mary, Queen of Angels. I'd like to see what comes through here. What would you like to show us for the collective? The first card is Sobriety. My clear mind is easily able to focus and concentrate. Okay. So this is a very meaningful card for me to pull right now, because in truth, or full disclosure, if you might say, I very much recently lost someone to a situation. And I already made a video about having lost someone in my life who's very close to me, but I haven't released it yet, and maybe by the time that this is posted it will be released. And so as I sat here holding these cards and choosing some cards to speak on, or to bring forth a reading, and then just really thinking about, am I ready to go there? Am I ready to speak on this? And then just, I guess, making space for allowing. Making space for allowing at this time to see what would come forth. So with the first card being Sobriety, this is an important card, right? I know that part of my work here is to encourage others to find their sobriety, right? Because it is through sobriety that your mind becomes clear and it is easier able to focus and concentrate. For anyone who has been going through what would be non-sobriety, right? And a look back over time to how did a person get to wherever they were on their journey, whether it was taking things in occasionally, regularly, or quite frequently, right? Sobriety can look like, for someone who maybe goes out a couple times a week, where it hasn't been a problem, but they maybe they drink socially, right? But anyone who drinks knows that that basically it can slow down your thought processes, potentially cloud your judgment. It shifts your energetic field. It lowers your vibration, right? And so this isn't about judgment. It's just simply this statement that says, when I am in sobriety, my mind is easily able to focus and concentrate. If anyone, again, even if it's social, you have one or two, right? Your defenses start to fall. Your concentration level is not as clear. You might feel it the next day, right? I've recently spoken with a couple people who stopped drinking, and they said exactly that. They didn't even realize, like, they feel so, like, clear, just clear-headed. And so let's at least, touch on that. What's also really interesting, that I happened to use the words touch on that because I wasn't looking at the card as I said that. But in this card, there is this woman. In fact, I want to use the book on this one. a woman standing here, and she has her hands in prayer, and she's standing. She wears a red gown and like a cape or sort of a robe tied around her neck without a hood. But there's all these hands reaching out to her. They're reaching out to her like as if for healing, right? So I am going to touch on this. Mother Mary supports your intention to have a chemical-free lifestyle. She can guide your detoxification process and support you in choosing sobriety one day at a time. A clear and sober mind is better able to concentrate during meditation and prayer. In the same way that a sober driver can better steer an automobile in a straight lane. Your prayers for help in this regard can also reduce or even eliminate cravings for an unhealthful substance, so that sobriety is a pleasant and peaceful choice. Mother Mary's love will give you the feelings of comfort, bliss, and love that you once sought through substances. This is bringing me to another conversation I had with someone kind of random. I can't remember, to be honest with you, how I met this person, and it was kind of just one of those moments. And she was saying that she used to smoke, but she kept passing out every time she smoked, and so she went to the hospital and she had to stop. And she said it was surprisingly easy. So it was like she did get help. It was like she asked for help and she got it to get over it. But she said, yeah, it was very interesting. And so that's one way that Spirit, our God, will work with you to show you, you know, this is no longer serving your highest and best. Okay, what else do we have here? We have present moment. I am fully present in the here and now. So sometimes that social whatever, social drinking or whatever it is, right, can be just that. But sometimes it turns into covering up what's going on in life, that either from the past or what's going on in the present. It's 144 megabytes right now as I record this, but what's going on in the present moment, right? And so this is saying, take the time right now and feel your feelings now, so that you're not stuffing them and trying to cover them up later, right? Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to enjoy, to smell the smells, to see what is there before you without having anxiety of the future pulling you away from where you are in each moment, right? Think about how many times that present moment, like you can't even hardly remember it because anxiety was creeping over you, or regret, shame, fear, something from the past, right? So you receive this card as a gentle reminder to keep your focus upon this present moment right now. Have you been reliving old memories, rehashing ancient wounds, or projecting yourself into the future? If so, you are missing out on life, which occurs in the here and now. Mother Mary guides you to enjoy the present no matter what is going on. So again, being encouraged to see that silver lining. As you learn to extract the joy and the blessings hidden within every experience, you'll feel continuously fulfilled in that moment, right? So if you've ever been having a conversation with someone and you can you have a memory coming up, right, as you're having a conversation, and you might feel some emotion, but what do? We often stuff it down, right? But this is saying feel it, allow for flow, because these present moments are precious moments, right? All right, what else do we have here? devotion. As I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God, I am clear about what to do next. So again, sitting with oneself and saying, what are my values? I have a book with a message in it that speaks about these values. I actually have a deck of cards about values too. I don't know if it's handy, but let's see. It is not handy right now, but it's like, what are your values? Even if you Googled types of values and you thought, yes, I resonate with this. These are my values, just as a guide to say, where do you stand in certain areas as you commit to your relationships and to God. So what are you devoted to? I am clear about what to do next, right? This calls us, it's 11:11, to say, where are my values? Are they forever changing? Right? My values. Do they change when something or someone new comes along and kind of like a wind comes along and then you just blow away with it? Or do you anchor into who you are, right? Knowing who you are, but still learning from others, right? And it is sometimes that those experiences with others that actually help you root more deeply into your own values, because something that you experience or talk about or whatever may not resonate with your soul at this time. It doesn't mean about necessarily judging them. It's a turning point to say, yes, I know who I am. And those roots, though, can change based on our experiences, if you will, right? So we can have experiences where we feel uprooted, where we have a storm in our life, where something shifted everything greatly. And so we work to get our feet back on the ground and reestablish roots. And so what we thought was our value system at one point in our life could have been our family's value system that we simply adopted or adhered to or what have you, right? But then we have experiences that are very different. And so our values may shift based on those experiences. So give yourself grace as you move through understanding that what you valued, whatever, a year ago, 5 years ago, may not be your same values today. Because everyone and everything is made up of energy. And so things are always changing. But it does help to be rooted in some values, right? Okay, the next one is signs. I watch for, notice, and trust the signs that heaven continually sends. Okay? So you will be given signs along your journey. You're given signs all the time. The question is, are we slowing down to see them? So let's jump back to this card with sobriety. So if one is not clear in their mind or not able to concentrate and are focused because they are distracted or they are using or whatever the case might be, they may be missing the signs that the universe, that God, source energy is always sending, that they're right there in front of them. Okay? So let me see. I have a couple pages of signs that I've written down. Let's see. In about the past 3 weeks, although I haven't written down a few. I haven't written down for a few days because I've been kind of doing other things, but let's see. I shared one in the other video, and this is about the experience with the person that I lost. Okay, so after I lost them, and I say lost after they passed on, I've had these experiences, right? And a multitude of them. And for for myself, I've been on this spiritual journey for quite some time, so understanding that there, people who have passed on are still right here. You just maybe are not seeing them, but they have ways of communicating with us, okay? And letting us know that they are good, right? So I think what I'll do is I will actually just share something. I may have shared this, but yeah, this is something I can share. So on the way to the person's service, first of all, I will say I've already had an affinity with deer. Okay, so on the way to the person's service, two deer come out and they stand by the highway and watch the car go by. Just very, it wasn't like they were going to run into the highway. They weren't looking to it. They just stood there and watched. Okay. The second thing is that, and deers represent gentleness, right? Oh, and now this reminds me, because I actually was able to get a picture of this. This was the next day after the person passed, though. I took a picture. There, very close to their home, there were two deers and a baby deer. Okay. So I did take a picture of that, and maybe I'll share that on my site, the community page. But anyway, in driving further along, I said this person's name, and I said, I know that you are here with me. And not only are you always here with me, I said, I know you're riding with me. What would you like me to know right now? And literally, as I said that, I came upon a sign that said Casper's, and it was the name of a business, right? Casper's. Well, Spirit does have a sense of humor, right? So it was a good little light laugh on the way to what would be a challenging situation, right? So as we continue on, I rode next to a school bus for some time. And the school bus is about education, right? Education. The number on the bus was 567, which is numbers that are in order, meaning there is a progression that is taking place, meaning a moving along, right? Not a jumping back and forth. And when we look at 5, 6, and 7 from a dimensional standpoint, right? The fifth dimension is when we are out of our body. We are not in our physical vessel, if you will, but you can be a master, right, and transcend your body. But if you have left your body, and you can be here in your body, but transcend your body and experience the higher dimensions, right? 5, 6, 7, and more. But if you have left your body, you have moved on at least to the fifth dimension. So it's like bouncing. You could be in an area of the fifth, sixth, and seventh dimension, and the experiences are different. We are all multidimensional beings, but we are just unaware of it if we are moving too fast, right? So this was like a note to say, I've progressed to a higher dimension, okay? The next thing that happened is I was following someone, and next to us there was a Jeep with a wheel cover on it with a big green dragonfly. Now, at the service, we had green dragonflies to have on the table. And So that was one. And actually, in the mention of dragonflies, I was somewhere last week, and a person that I was speaking with was wearing green dragonfly earrings. Now, this is what, let's just say, like maybe 8 days after the service, 8 to 9 days after the service. Okay. Furthermore, I listen to speakers or readers, and after the service, I was listening to one person, and she kept talking about this dragonfly, right? Uh, just not only did she pull a dragonfly card, but she kept talking about it, and then so that was interesting. Um, so I've had a number of dragonflies come up, which represent the spiritual journey, right? And then once we were taking a turn right there, and that Jeep ended up going forward, I turned the corner, and we turned the corner, but there was a van pulling out that said Halo Transportation. Okay. And then I'm going to point out one more thing. I don't know if I spoke on this before, but so a relative of mine and I were driving after the service, and there were 4 big birds that were circling or hovering over this area, which was very unusual, okay, in the area in which they were hovering. And they were not eagles, and they were not crows or ravens. It was actually really hard to tell what they were. But they were really big, and we were on the highway, right? And they didn't look like vultures, but they were flying above. So anyway, we made a note of 4 big birds. And then in talking about that, we realized that this person's favorite toy as a child was Big Bird, for Big Bird. And it was one of the things that we were going to put at the service, and excuse me, and decided not to. So it was rather interesting that as we were speaking about that, for big birds. And so, we are giving the signs. I have a whole, a number of these. There's so many more here, but excuse me, that gives you an idea of what these signs can look like. Again, in one, I asked for a sign. The day after this person's passing, I'm sorry, it was a few days after their passing, I did that same thing where I was driving in the car, and I said, all right, I said this person's name, what would you like me to know right now? And there again, I came upon more signs. And literally, it was a sign. It was like a street sign that said something meaningful. And, so these kinds of things can be very reassuring. And so that's another thing. Like, say that you've lost someone and you have been not in your sobriety because you've been moving through grief and whatever that is, and you've been leaning on chemicals versus sitting with the feelings. You can ask for signs, for healing, for help, right? To ease the, if you have cravings and that stuff, you can ask for signs to help you, and you will find comfort in those signs to show you that they are around. And if you're not sure how to ask for signs, you can ask for signs in ways that you will not miss. That was something maybe just between you. You can ask for yes and no answers to questions, and you can say, Please show me green for yes, like if you ask a question, and please show me like red for no. And so if you ask a question, and sometimes even depends on where your vibration is, even before you're getting the question out, you might start seeing a ton of green. So you already have your answer. You can get more specific and you can say, please show me green cars over the next, you know, whatever. Please start showing me green cars if it's yes for this question. And if it's no, show me red cars, right? And you know, if you see one red car, okay, or one green car, but keep continuing to watch, because the funny way like the spirit works, it won't just be like your average green car. It'll be something so neon green that you absolutely cannot miss it, right? And then it'll be like a super cool car, or whatever. Things that absolutely catch your attention, where you're like, okay, now you can get overwhelmed in asking for signs. So sometimes what you might do is write your question down and then try to keep track of the way that you're being communicated with. Okay? You could find coins in your path, if you will, wherever you are. The coin, if you pick it up, say it's a quarter. Where is the quarter from? What state is it? Look up the name of that state. What does the word mean? What is the state bird or the state flower or the lake, or what is the image on the quarter? What is the year of the quarter? Like paying attention. This is the way that spirit can and will speak to us, okay? But just kind of keeping in mind, when you're asking, you shall receive. Okay, what else do we have? We have tenderness. Okay, so here we have an older woman who is holding the belly of another woman, and possibly it is Mary Magdalene. I am both gentle and powerful. And we have a monk who's on his knees holding he's holding it's not a scepter, but something similar to that. Let's see what this is. Under tenderness. So the reminder to be tender with yourself and others, right? This card counsels you to approach your current situation gently. It acknowledges and it honors your deep sensitivity, and it asks you to do the same. If someone or something feels too harsh, trust that it is so for you. Your tenderness is a spiritual gift that allows you to feel the presence of Mother Mary and the angels. Trust your feelings as accurate messengers that guide you in healthy directions. So it's trusting your feelings. You drew this card because your current situation calls for you to simultaneously honor your sensitivity while maintaining your boundaries. It is time for you to be both nice and assertive. Lovingly speak your truth to others. Mother Mary also guides you to develop physical strength through exercise and tenderly caring for your body, right? So it is okay if you get in a situation, say you've done the same thing for a very long time, and that could say have been going out, and now you stop going out and you start becoming more clear-minded, your focus and concentration. And now let's just say you go out again, but you are focused and you're clear. You get out there and all of a sudden you start experiencing the situation very different. Maybe you are no longer comfortable in certain environments. Why? Because you are becoming more sensitive. Why? Because you are detoxifying your body. Your mind is becoming clear. Your body is becoming clear. So therefore, we become more sensitive. Think about if you ever smoked and you stop smoking and you're not around anyone who smokes. And then you go somewhere and you're like, oh, no, don't want to be around that, right? It doesn't resonate with you anymore. This is the same thing that says, okay, your sensitivity is a gift to help other people, right? So you can be both gentle and powerful. It is okay to set boundaries. It is okay to say no. It is okay to change what no longer resonates with you, right? Again, what you used to um, hold as values in the past may shift a bit, right? Anyway, so I think because we're at 30 minutes, I'm just going to let this reading be. I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful for you today and encouraging for you along your journey. Take care.